Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are pulling back the curtain on something you use every single day, how software actually gets made. We're going to break down that whole journey, from just a spark of an idea all the way to a feature that you can click on in an app. Let's dive in.
Have you ever opened your favorite app and found some cool new button and just stopped and wondered, how on earth did they add that without breaking everything else? It feels pretty complex, right? Almost like magic.
Well, the thing is, it's not magic at all. It's a journey, a really organized, structured journey. It's a process that's specifically designed to turn those cool ideas into reality, both predictably and reliably.
So to make this whole thing crystal clear, we're going to follow one single super familiar feature, the Add to Cart button. We're going to trace its entire life, from a simple concept all the way to a button that actually works in an app.
So where does our journey start? Well, you can think of it as starting in a digital toy box. This is where every single idea for the app, big ones, small ones, new ones, old ones, they're all just thrown in there together. The very first step is to bring some order to that chaos.
In the software world, they call this backlog refinement. And seriously, the best analogy is cleaning out an overflowing toy box. You dump everything on the floor, you sort through it all, you figure out what's broken, what's new and exciting, and most importantly, which toys you actually want to play with right now. That's exactly what software teams do with their big list of ideas. And this is what that looks like in practice. On the left, you see the messy backlog. You've got these super vague tasks like test something, or massive ones like payment testing. But after you clean it up, after grooming, look at the right. Those vague ideas become specific, actionable tasks like test credit card payment. The huge tasks get broken down into smaller, bite-sized pieces, and each one gets an estimate for how long it'll take. This clarity, it's everything. Okay, so our Add to Cart idea has been cleaned up, it's been prioritized, so what's next? Well, now it's time to actually schedule it for work, and this happens inside a very specific, time-boxed plan. This plan is called a sprint, and honestly, the best way to think of it is like a 2-week school project. At the very beginning, the team agrees on exactly what they're going to build, and for those 2 weeks, they are laser-focused. And here's the most important rule. You can't add new tasks halfway through. The goal is to finish what you committed to, period. Now, a sprint isn't just 2 weeks of chaotic coding, not at all. It has a very distinct rhythm. It always kicks off with planning on day one. Then you have the bulk of the time for the actual work, with these short daily check-ins called stand-ups to make sure everyone's on the same page. And then it wraps up with a review of what got built and a meeting to discuss how to improve, before the whole cycle just resets and starts all over again. Okay, this is so important. Before anyone writes a single line of code, the team has to agree on what done actually means. They do this with a simple checklist called acceptance criteria. So for our Add to Cart button, that checklist would include things like when a user clicks the button, the item shows up in the cart, and the little cart icon updates its count. This checklist gets rid of all the guesswork.
All right, so we've got a plan, and we have a clear definition of what done looks like. Now the team needs a way to actually see the work as it's moving along. This is where a big, central, visual tool comes into play.
And that tool is the Scrum board. Just picture a giant shared homework tracker for the entire team. Every task is like a little sticky note. As you work on it, you literally move it across the board, from the to-do column to in progress, and finally to done. It makes the status of the entire project visible to everyone, all at once.
So here it is, our Add to Cart feature at the very beginning of the sprint. It's just a ticket sitting right there in the to-do column, waiting patiently for a developer to pick it up and get started. Once a developer starts coding, they physically move that ticket into in progress. And when they think the code is finished, they move it over again, this time into a column like ready for testing. This is basically the signal that the feature is ready for a fresh set of eyes to look at it.
And for the final step, a quality assurance engineer, or QA for short, picks up that ticket. They run through that done checklist we made earlier, and if everything works exactly as it's supposed to, it moves to the most satisfying column of all, done. Our feature is officially built.
But what happens if, during that testing, things don't work? What if the toy is broken? Let's be real, software development is never perfect, and a good process absolutely has to account for that.
Think about it this way.
If your new toy car's wheel falls off, you don't just say, "It's broken." You'd probably write a little note explaining exactly what happened so it can get fixed. Well, in software, that note is called a bug report. It's just a clear way of describing a problem so a developer can understand it and solve it. And a really helpful bug report always has a specific structure. You need a clear title, the exact step-by-step instructions to make the bug happen again, what you expected to see, and then what actually happened instead. And, of course, a screenshot or a quick video, that's pure gold for getting it fixed fast. So, with all this going on, how does the team know if they're actually on track to finish their school project on time? They use a tool called a burn-down chart. You can just think of it as a progress report. That straight line shows the perfect path to finishing on time. The other, wiggly line shows the team's actual progress. If that actual progress line is above the ideal one, that's a big, clear warning sign that the team is falling behind schedule.
Once those 2 weeks are over and all the dust has settled, the most important phase actually begins. And it's not about building, it's about learning so that the next project can be even better. This all happens in a really crucial meeting called the Sprint Retrospective. Here, the entire team gets together to honestly talk about 3 simple things: what went well, what went wrong, and what can we do to improve for the next sprint. This is how great teams become even greater.
Now, this whole 2-week sprint structure we've been talking about, that's part of a method called Scrum. It is fantastic for building brand new features. But what about an urgent bug that absolutely cannot wait 2 weeks? For that, a lot of teams use a different method called Kanban. You can think of it like the express lane at the grocery store. Instead of a fixed sprint, work just flows continuously. This makes it perfect for handling those urgent fixes the moment they pop up.
So let's boil all this down. What are the key takeaways? The do's? Absolutely write clear checklists for what done means. Break your big work down into small pieces. And please, write detailed bug reports. On the flip side, the don'ts. Do not add new work in the middle of a sprint. Don't skip those crucial retrospective meetings. And please, never, ever write a bug report that just says it's broken.
So there you have it. We followed one single idea from a messy toy box all the way to a finished, working feature. You've seen the map, you've seen the process, and you've seen the discipline it takes to make it all happen. The only question left is, what will you build next?